I opened up to my wife about getting SA'd as a child, but she didn't believe me and called me an attention-seeking liar, so now I'm seeking divorce. Posted by u/1_cat_4805. I, 27M, and my wife, 26F, have been married for 2 years and have been together for 6. As context, I was repeatedly raped by my brother's babysitter when I was around 9. She would force me to take off my pants and then SA me whenever my 4-year-old brother slept. Most of the time, I was paralyzed and couldn't do anything to stop it. She would always buy me sweets or video games for my DS as a reward. So, in a weird way, I started growing attached to her and would try to seek the abuse if it meant getting her rewards. I knew whatever she was doing was wrong, but she would always threaten to take my life if I ever told my parents, so I never did while the abuse was actively happening. Everything stopped as soon as she graduated from college and moved to another state. I only realized how messed up the things she did to me were when I was around 14 or 15 and understood the concept of consent. When I tried to open up to my parents, strict Catholics, it never ended well. First, they blamed it on porn and claimed it corrupted my mind into imagining these things happening to me. If I insisted I was telling the truth, my dad would beat the crap out of me, and my mom would ground me. I tried opening up to my friends, but their reactions weren't any better. My male friends just called me lucky and asked if the BJ was good. My female friends claimed I was lying to get attention and laughed in my face. I learned to just try to forget the past and vowed to myself that I would never mention this to anyone again. Now, on to last week. My wife and I had heard some good things about a show called Baby Reindeer on Netflix from our friends. Going into it, I knew it revolved around SA and stalking. In my mind, I thought I was over the past and could handle watching the show without a problem. Big mistake. By the end of episode 4, I was literally on the verge of tears, and all the supposedly forgotten memories came flooding back. At the end of the next episode, I couldn't hold it in anymore. My wife paused the show and just stared at me. After a while, I finally managed to calm down a bit. She asked me why I was crying, and I just let everything out. She apologized, hugged me, and we went to bed soon after. I apologized to her the following morning for ruining our night. From the moment I told her about the abuse, I felt something change in our relationship. No more kisses when I came back from work, and no more initiating anything intimate from her side. She wasn't mean or anything, but I sensed that something was bothering her. I tried to apologize for possibly making her uncomfortable, but she would just insist that nothing was wrong and that I was being paranoid. Yesterday, my wife and I got into a pretty heated argument about her lying about taking out the trash, but during the argument, she said something that floored me beyond belief. She literally said, "At least I'm not lying about being raped, you effing narcissist." I couldn't even process what had just come out of her mouth. She tried apologizing right after saying that, but I just packed a few clothes and left to stay at a friend's house. She has tried calling me several times since, but I haven't bothered picking up and have blocked her for the time being. I know I might have trauma dumped on her, and I know women aren't usually into that, but I just want some sort of acknowledgement or support. I don't have anyone left to turn to with this, and that's why I'm posting here. I've had 2 therapists so far, and neither has seemed to help much. My gut is telling me to divorce her, but she's genuinely the love of my life. Throwing away 6 years because of this one moment doesn't sit right with me, but I don't know. I would love to hear some of your opinions on my situation, and if you've read this all the way through, thank you. Commenter. I don't think you can call that trauma dumping. If she were some random girl you were on a first date with? Yeah, sure. But she's your wife, and that's the kind of established relationship that should be a safe place for you to open up about past traumas. The fact that it ended up not being safe isn't your fault, and I'm so sorry she responded the way she did. I understand feeling conflicted about divorce, because it's such a hard thing to go through, but you absolutely would not be wrong to go through with it. I wish you the best, whatever you decide to do. Update 1 month later. First of all, I just want to thank everyone for all the amazing love and support. For the first time in my life, I felt heard and didn't feel like a burden to people. I don't know what I did to deserve any of this, but I just want to let you all know that I'm beyond grateful. As for the update, shortly after posting, I did decide to go back home. I had work the next day and didn't want to burden my friend with my marital issues any longer. Upon coming home, I was met with her screaming at me for just leaving the apartment and ghosting her without having an adult conversation with her. I let her know how hurt I was by the things she said to me and that I needed some time to myself to gather my thoughts. She tried arguing back, saying there was nothing to think about and that I was being an immature crybaby. From that point onwards, we have barely been on speaking terms. I know a lot of people are going to be mad hearing this, but the longer I thought about my marriage and my wife, the more I wanted to give her another chance. She wasn't perfect by any means, but neither was I. A lot of my past relationships ended as a result of my past catching up with me, but I really want to change that this time. She isn't the first partner or friend to have this type of reaction to what I went through. I know it's tough, but I feel like I just needed to bite the bullet if it meant keeping my sanity. I didn't want to start over again. After we somewhat started talking to each other again, I sat her down for a serious conversation and let her know again how hurt I was by everything she said. I told her about all the ridicule I had suffered as a result of opening up, and how her having the same reaction just reopened unhealed wounds. She stayed quiet until I mentioned couples therapy. That's when she started crying, but not for the reason I expected. I tried holding her, but she pushed me away and screamed that I seriously thought about ending our marriage over some silly argument we had, accusing me of making up a sob story after watching Baby Reindeer for attention and sympathy. According to her, all of this was just too convenient to be believable. If it was real, why didn't you mention any of this throughout the 6 years we've been together? At this point, even I started tearing up. I apologized for keeping this from her for so long and tried to reassure her that I wasn't making it up, but she slapped me and stormed off to bed. That was a week ago, and I've been sleeping on the couch ever since. Whenever I try to speak to my wife, she just makes snarky comments and storms off. I cry myself to sleep most nights and wish I had never watched that show. None of this would have happened. I currently don't have the money for therapy and just feel lost. I don't want a divorce. I want to try and make this work, but this whole mess is just so draining. I'm not in contact with my family, so I don't have anyone I can turn to with this. How would you guys move forward in this situation? Commenter. There is no saving this relationship. From the looks of it, you're going to end up miserable and eventually stop telling her things to avoid arguments and or belittling from her. Be honest with yourself, what exactly are you looking for in marriage counseling? She'll need her own individual therapy before she can even take on marriage counseling. It won't go anywhere if only one person acknowledges there's a problem. I understand you've been with her for 6 years, and she's by far the best you've had, but she isn't the best for you, let alone the one. Why compromise the rest of your life for her when you can get out and move on? You're only 27, you have so much time to get out there and find someone who loves and respects all of you. You still have so much time to find someone who will take you and your trauma seriously, who will work with you every step of the way no matter what, and who will own up to their own faults in a so-called adult conversation. It's a cliche saying, but it's better to have no company than bad company. Everyone here supports and believes in you. Get therapy, when you have the money, and work on yourself if you believe you have flaws that contribute to the relationship's failure. In 10 years, you will look back and thank yourself for leaving the situation. It's hard work, but you can do it. Second update 3 months later. Again, I just want to thank everyone for the amazing love and support you've shown me in my last 2 posts. Even though the response to my last post wasn't what I expected, it was a reality check for me. I'm beyond grateful for all the DMs, and I promise I'll get to responding to all of them someday, but I'm going through a lot at the moment, so please bear with me. After I posted my update, I realized that I was definitely in an abusive relationship, and even though I wanted to make the marriage work, she has shown zero willingness to change her attitude toward what I went through. 2 days after posting my update, I contacted a lawyer and filed for divorce. I gave her plenty of chances, and she has repeatedly shown me that she won't even acknowledge my trauma, let alone offer me any form of support. I initially kept everything a secret and slowly started preparing my assets, savings, joint bank accounts, etc. I did finally tell her about filing for divorce, and she didn't take it well. She tried fighting it and claimed I would never find anyone else willing to put up with a giant baby who can't even admit he wanted what happened to him. According to her, no woman is willing to deal with an attention-seeking crybaby like me. I'm not going to lie, what she said got to me, and for a brief moment, I considered halting the divorce. But after she came home drunk one night and berated me for an hour straight, it snapped me back to reality. I don't know where the woman I fell in love with went, but that wasn't her. Looking back now, she'd given me plenty of red flags, but I ignored them for the sake of being loved for once in my life. For once, I wasn't called gay for not wanting to smash immediately after getting into a relationship, and I wasn't laughed at for having random seizures, etc. I moved out of our apartment the day after her rant and have been staying at my friend's ever since. After she realized I wasn't coming back anytime soon, she didn't all my friends, claiming that I was an attention WHRE, making up a sob story about being raped, and that she was actually the one filing for divorce. Not only that, but she also told them I was physically abusive and said, they shouldn't hang around a guy that hits women. Most of my friends immediately called me names, told me I'd failed as a man, and blocked me. The friend I'm currently staying with seems to be the only person on my side. I also want to mention that I moved away from the US to live with my grandparents in Europe when I was 19. I mentioned it in one of my comments, so I thought I'd mention it here. There were people who thought that she might have contacted my parents and that fueled her reaction to the abuse I faced. There is literally zero chance she could contact them since I didn't even tell her their names. I was doing an apprenticeship at a bank, and she even started sending them evidence of me abusing her. I have no clue what she wrote to them. I had a meeting with HR on the 20th, and they decided to fire me. I tried fighting it, but they just said I wasn't worth the hassle. I'm now back doing construction, don't have a proper education, and have lost almost all of the people I'm close with. I'm just beyond tired at this point. Not angry, not sad, just numb. I feel like whenever I try to take a step forward, I take 3 steps backward. Maybe I am just this unlovable and pathetic. Maybe I deserve all that's coming to me. I just don't know anymore. As stated in the title, this will be my last post. Reddit has given me so much great advice and made me realize so many things, and I'm beyond grateful to every single one of you who helped me, but it has also destroyed my mental health. For every 50 positive and supportive comments and DMs I've received, there's been one person saying the same things I've heard all my life, and I've let those people get to me. A lot of people have asked why I have such strong feelings towards my babysitter giving me BJs. First of all, I was 9, and she threatened to take my life on multiple occasions. Second, I left out a lot of other details in my post because those memories are too painful, and I didn't think they were relevant to the purpose of my original post. I'm going to mention them here since I have nothing left to lose at this point. She would shove things inside me. She would regularly hit me in the balls to punish me for disobeying her. She would dress me up as a girl and would force me to dance for her and pose in suggestive positions. There were times when I couldn't walk properly because of the things she did to me, and I was ruthlessly bullied in school as a result. Thank you so much for reading this far into my post and supporting me over these past few weeks. A big thank you to you/writing_romance and you/that page for checking up on me and genuinely being amazing human beings. They helped me through some seriously dark times.